So I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I don't really know what I'm going to title this video yet. Essentially, what I want to talk about is how Caleb Williams and Drake May are locks at pick 2 and at pick 1 and 2 in the NFL draft, and then pick 3 is where things get interesting. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, because I think a title like Caleb Williams and Drake Mays are locks to go first and second. Who's going to go third? Or the third pick in the draft is where things go interesting. I'll consult with my team and I'll figure out what the best title should be. But essentially, I'm going to talk about how Caleb Williams is going first overall, Drake May is going second overall. I'm sure about that. And then pick 3 is where the draft really gets interesting here. So first things first. Caleb Williams is going 1, Drake May is going 2. And I'm not saying that it necessarily is going to be the Bears and the Commanders that make that pick, though. I think what makes the most sense is the Bears take Caleb Williams at 1 and the Commanders go with Drake May at 2. But things could happen. Chicago has already come out and publicly stated that it would take a massive haul for them to trade out of the first overall pick. There's a lot of drama going on with Fields right now. I know it doesn't mean anything, but everyone's saying how he started unfollowing the Bears, and then there was the speech that he gave after his very last NFL game where he thanked the city of Chicago and said that his future was unclear. If your future's unclear with the team and there's that much smoke with Justin Fields, it's not looking good for him. But as I mentioned in a previous video, I think if a team like New England falls in love with Caleb Williams and offers pick 3 and 2 additional first-round picks, like that's a trade the Bears can't pass up on. Being able to only drop down 2 spots for 2 first-round picks, that's an insane offer. And I'm not saying that New England's going to offer that by any means, but I'm saying it would take a trade like that to make the Bears trade that pick. But who knows? Maybe there's a team who thinks that Caleb Williams is one of the best quarterback prospects in a very long time, and they would do anything to get him. It could happen. We have seen a team trade their entire draft before for a player that they felt really good about. Washington at 2. Since Caleb Williams is going first overall to the Bears or to another team that's willing to trade up, I think that the Commanders at 2 make the most sense to take Drake May here. Now, I think that there is a world where maybe the Commanders are like, hey, Sam Howell actually didn't look terrible last year and was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL. Maybe our offensive line is just terrible, and with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, we already have weapons. Maybe Sam Howell can develop behind a better offensive line. Or maybe Washington thinks, hey, our team's trash. What if we could get a haul like the Bears did last year for the second overall pick? I think a team that has had a lot... Last year, the Minnesota Vikings, it was reported that they offered a haul to try to trade up to 4 to draft Anthony Richardson. I could see Minnesota this year trying to trade up to 2 to take Drake May second overall. I could see Denver doing that. I could see the Raiders doing that. I could see the Saints doing that. I could see Atlanta doing that. Hell, the Giants could... Not with Washington, I guess, but the Giants can move up. There are many teams that could want Drake May and fall in love with Drake May as well. Drake May is a phenomenal football player, and I don't know why he doesn't get it talked about enough. People that say that Drake May ain't it clearly hasn't watched any Drake May film. Drake May has some elite traits. Very accurate, very good arm, very good, or I should say sneaky good on the run. A lot of people say that, oh, well, Caleb Williams is the playmaker and Drake May's better in structure, which is true, but Drake May has still looked great out of structure. And he's done all of this in a UNC team that has not had a good offensive line and has not really had the best of weapons. Yes, he had Tez Walker this season. He missed him for half the season. Last year, can you name anyone that was on that UNC wide receiver core? I can't. He hasn't had the best of weapons, and he still has looked phenomenal. If you take Drake May off that UNC team this year, they easily lose twice as many games as they did this season. Drake May is an absolute freak, and I think Washington could easily take him, but who knows? Maybe Washington says, hey, we have so many needs right now that let's trade back, get a haul like the Bears did last year, and let another team draft Drake May. So Drake May and Caleb Williams are going first and second overall. I'm sure on that. 3's where it gets interesting here. New England is essentially going to take either Jaden Daniels or Marvin Harrison Jr. It's going to be one of those two guys. Marvin Harrison Jr. can very easily be the best player in this entire draft class. Absolute freak athlete with an insane build. 6'4", 200 pounds, and he's that fast, and he's that quick, and he's that good with the ball in the air. He is able to move like a 6-foot wide receiver, and he's 6'4". It is insane. Marvin Harrison Jr. has all the traits that his dad had, and he's 6'4", and faster, and a better athlete. It's absolutely insane what Marvin Harrison can do, and the fact that he has put up production in back-to-back seasons now at Ohio State. Just insane. Basically, he's done the same exact thing in back-to-back years and is averaging over 100 yards a game and over 1.1 touchdown a game too. Absolutely insane what Marvin Harrison's doing. And he'll be 22 going into the NFL, maybe even late 21. Insane. And then there's Jaden Daniels, who won the Heisman this year. And Jaden Daniels out of LSU had a phenomenal season this year. Last season, he looked good last year, but this season he just took a tremendous step up. He is a 5-year starter, as you can see here. His 2020 season didn't really count. And Jaden Daniels looked phenomenal this year. Just absolutely phenomenal. Won the Heisman. And New England is going to have to determine, do we want QB3 or wide receiver 1? Now, I believe that it should be Jaden Daniels. You should draft the quarterback first and build the team around the quarterback. There's always been a debate. Do you draft the quarterback first and then build the team around him? Or do you build up the team and then plug in a quarterback? Draft the quarterback first, man. Let the quarterback develop. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. Sit him for a year. If New England can love Jaden Daniels, they don't have to start him right away. You don't have to start him. You can sit him. You can have him learn your system. I saw a tweet recently from Matt Miller, who is a writer at Bleacher Report, one of their head scouts, and he said that New England's team was trash and New England should pass on Jaden Daniels and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and instead build up the team for when a quarterback comes in next season. Here's the issue. You aren't always in a position to draft a top quarterback prospect. New England is in a position to draft the Heisman Trophy winner and a really good quarterback prospect at 3. When you're in the position to draft the quarterback prospect, you draft the quarterback. Quarterback is the most important position, and if Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't one of the best wide receiver prospects we have seen in a very long time, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. It's just Marvin Harrison Jr. is so good that we are. But Marvin Harrison Jr., let me just point this out to you. Do we really want Mac Jones throwing it to Marvin Harrison Jr.? For the sake of my sanity and for the sake of not wanting to see Marvin Harrison Jr. I want him to succeed. This could be one of the best wide receiver prospects of all time. I'm a Falcons fan. I watched Julio Jones forever, and I loved watching Julio. Now, there's Justin Jefferson, who's great. I love watching him on the Vikings. Stephon Diggs, he's a crybaby, man. I don't like Stephon Diggs. Marvin Harrison Jr. is someone I would love to root for. Love to root for. And do you really want Mac Jones throwing the ball? No. Please, God, no. Draft Jaden Daniels. Draft Jaden Daniels. He has proven that he is able to work around elite wide receiver talent. Draft the quarterback, and in free agency, you can pick up wide receivers and pick up more talent to get him the ball. In free agency, there isn't really a good quarterback. You can have a young quarterback that's going to develop for the future and draft and pick up wide receivers in free agency, where this is such a deep wide receiver draft class, you can just draft a wide receiver at 2. Look at New England here. Pick 34. They could easily draft a wide receiver here at the top of the second round. But they could easily draft a wide receiver at the top of the second round, get the quarterback here at 3, and draft a wide receiver at the top of the second round. Or even trade up into something that I think that could be really cool is if they draft Jaden Daniels and then trade up to Where does he go? Brian Thomas Jr. Trade up to like pick 25, trade up 10 spots, give up your third round pick, and draft Brian Thomas Jr. and give Jaden Daniels his buddy. I think that would be awesome and really fun to see if New England does that. There's pick 4. Cardinals are going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's here at 4. Without a shadow of a doubt, 100% Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to 4 to the Cardinals. You do not pass on this kind of wide receiver process. You have Kyler Murray. They have the quarterback. The only reason that you pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. is because you have a quarterback or because you already have elite wide receivers. The Cardinals have a quarterback in Kyler. They don't got much help. Hollywood Brown is a free agent. I guess they got Rondell Moore. Marvin Harrison Jr. can instantly be the number 1 wide receiver for the Cardinals. Cardinals take Marvin Harrison Jr. But say the Patriots pass on him, or pass on Jaden Daniels and do draft Marvin Harrison Jr., what do the Cardinals do now? I've seen a lot of people in mock draft scenarios where Marvin Harrison Jr. does go to the Patriots at 3. The Cardinals then take Malik Nabers at 4, which I think could also be very reasonable. Malik Nabers, it was the number 1 wide receiver for LSU, and look at the phenomenal season that he had with them. Malik Nabers is a phenomenal wide receiver prospect as well, and in most draft classes he'd be wide receiver 1. He just happens to be in the draft class with one of the best generational talent wide receiver prospects we have seen in a very long time. Cardinals could do that, or I think a sneaky thing, Cardinals could go defense as well. They have Jonathan Gallen as their head coach, a defensive guy. Dallas Turner is not a terrible pickup for the Cardinals at 4. Terrion Arnold, 4 would definitely be a reach for Arnold, but in a scenario where there's no Marvin Harrison Jr. and the Cardinals have basically no corners at all, Terrion Arnold at 4 wouldn't surprise me. It would be a reach. I'm not saying they should do it. It would be a reach, but I'm saying it is in the realm of possibility if Marvin Harrison Jr. is gone at 4. Then at 5, the Chargers here. A lot of people have given Chargers Brock Bowers, but I think any 3 of these picks you see right here are what the Chargers are taking. I don't see them taking anything else outside of these 3 picks here. In a world where this is Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3 and then Malik Nabers at 4, I think it makes total sense for the Chargers to draft Joe Alt or Brock Bowers if Malik Nabers isn't there. Even if Malik Nabers is there, Brock Bowers and Joe Alt make sense. The Chargers now have Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman, who both love to run the ball and love their trenches. It's also come out that Jim Harbaugh is keeping Keenan Allen. So the Chargers are going to have Keenan Allen. They're going to have Quentin Johnson. They're going to have Palmer. Mike Williams still has 1 more year left on his contract, even though he's probably going to get traded or cut. So they have wide receivers there. And with how much they love to run the ball, Joe Alt is the best run blocking offensive lineman in this class. 6'8", absolute mauler. You can put him on the right side and just lock up your tackles of the future with Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt and just have one of the best offensive tackle duos. Or take Brock Bowers, a tight end who can block as well as receive and give Justin Herbert another target there. So at Chargers at 5, this is going to be one of these 3 picks. Bowers, Malik Nabers, Joe Alt. I don't see a world where this is not this. There's no way this isn't any of these 3 picks. Giants at 6. Malik Nabers has basically been mocked to the Giants this entire mock draft. I love the fit too. An LSU wide receiver, I mean, it writes itself. Now, if Malik Nabers isn't here at 6, now things get interesting here if Malik Nabers isn't here. There's Rome Odunze. Giants could go defense. I mean, probably not. That offense is so bad. But I think the Giants could also sneakily go Ole Fashanu as well. Ole Fashanu, the best pass-blocking offensive tackle in this class. Evan Neal, not looked good for the Giants at right tackle. They can maybe try to slide him in guard to save his career and draft Ole Fashanu. I know it's not the sexy pick, but the Giants, one of the worst offensive lines in the class. Malik Nabers isn't there. Who knows, man? It could get bad. And the last pick that I want to talk about, because I don't want this video to be too long, is the Titans here at 7. This will be an offensive player. I'm almost certain of it. I think that this will more than likely be offensive line. This will either be Follow Oshanu or Joe Alt. But in a world, in a hypothetical, it'll be Follow Oshanu or Joe Alt. I'm almost positive they're going offensive line. Their offensive line was also trash. They need offensive line help if they want to help develop Malik, or what's his guy? Mail Lever. Is it Malik Willis? No, is that the other guy? Will Levis. Will Levis. To help develop Will Levis. Brian Callahan, who just came over from Cincinnati, knows how important offensive line is. He watched Joe Burrow get sacked so much and his offensive line play be terrible. Draft your franchise left tackle of the future. You never have to worry about it if you draft either Joe Alt or Ole Fashanu. But say there's a hypothetical world where at 5, the Chargers go Joe Alt, and at 6, the Giants go Ole Fashanu. What would the Titans do at 7? Like, say there's a hypothetical where it goes Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3, Malik Nabers at 4, Joe Alt at 5, Ole Fashanu at 6. At 7, I think the Titans would either do Rome Odunze or trade down at that point. If the top 2 wide receivers and the top 2 offensive tackles are off the board, if you're the Titans, you feel screwed because those are the 4 players you're targeting, and you just feel absolutely screwed if you missed out on that. So Rome Odunze is a great wide receiver option as well. I know some people, such as Daniel Jeremiah, even have him above Malik Nabers. I still think Malik Nabers is better, but Rome Odunze also has elite traits as well. He's taller than Malik Nabers. That extra 3 inches matters a lot, no matter what any girl tells you. Even stat-wise, they produce the same. Both just had phenomenal seasons, but Malik Nabers, it's like, what do you like more? Malik Nabers is better with the ball in the air, and Malik Nabers is a little bit quicker than Rome Odunze, but Rome Odunze, he is taller, he is a more physical built, and he has a better potential at one-on-one contested catches because of that size. So I think if in this freak scenario where the Titans don't get their 2 offensive tackles or 2 wide receivers, they draft Rome Odunze or trade down to a team that's going to probably jump the Falcons for Jaden Daniels, such as any of these 3 teams here. Giants, Raiders, Saints, maybe even the Vikings. But anyways, guys, that has been how the 2024 NFL Draft will shape out, plus all scenarios. Still have no clue what the title is. I'm definitely going to try to come up with the title that makes the most amount of clicks, most amount of views. But if you like this video, if this video actually gets views and likes and comments, I'll make another part. I'll make another part going over maybe picks like 8 through 16 on what should happen. Or maybe if there's a team you really want me to talk about for what I think they're going to do in the draft, just leave a comment down below and maybe I'll make a full video out of it or shoot a comment to you guys. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Leave comments down below on how I can improve my videos, what you liked, what you disliked, and peace.